Gather close, my children. Draw your mat nearer. For this night, the moon is wide awake over Nnewi, watching us like an old ancestor's eye. It is under such a moon that stories walk on bare feet and the hearts of children open like kola nuts in the hands of elders. Listen well, for this is the tale of Chibuike and Obianuju, and of how the dreams of parents and children can sweeten a life like ripe udala or turn it bitter like unripe palm kernel. In the days when harmattan still carried the smell of firewood and red dust settled gently on the roofs of Nnewi, there was a young man named Chibuike. God is my strength. He was strong in body and louder in laughter, the kind of man whose voice arrived before he did. One market day at Otu, he was chasing a stubborn goat that had wriggled free and scattered his calabash of palm wine across the ground. As he stumbled after the animal, a young woman's laughter sliced through the market noise, sharp, clear, and fearless. That was Obianuju. Her beauty has come, bargaining fiercely over a heap of yams. She bent, picked up one of the broken calabash pieces, and said, "So, the goat is the chief and you are the servant, eh?" Her eyes shone with mischief, and Chibuike, who was never short of words, suddenly found his tongue tying wrapper with no rope. From that day, the market was no longer just a place of trade. It became a place where two hearts met under the watchful eyes of elders and ancestors. When the sun grew tired and the moon took its place, they would sit under the udala tree, speaking in low voices while crickets played background drums. Proverbs walked between them like guided spirits. Nwatako shaka osoro kenyeri indui. When a child washes their hands, they eat with elders. She teased him once when he came late and dusty from work. "You see, I am washing my hands now so I can eat life with you," he replied. When it was time to marry, the families gathered. Kola nut was broken, palm wine was poured, and the bride's father asked the ancient question, "Mwami, imam wokea?" "My daughter, do you know this man?" Obianuju, her head bowed but her heart steady, answered yes. Their people danced, goats met their destiny, and blessings poured like fresh palm wine. May your home be full. May your children stand tall. May your name not be forgotten on this land. In time, 3 children came like 3 seasons. First, Kelechi, thank God. Then Ifunanya, love, and finally Tochukwu, praise God. They grew up on red F, charcoal laughter, and the strict tenderness of African parenting. They belong not only to Chibuike and Obianuju, but to aunties, uncles, neighbors, and elders who watch them the way a farmer watches his best yam mound. Chibuike and Obianuju carried big dreams on their backs, heavier than sacks of gari. Their children, they decided, would not suffer as they had. They would cross the boundaries of the village, go to cities where buildings scrape the sky, and their names would be written on papers, not just on sand. Doctor, lawyer, engineer, these were the titles they rolled on their tongues like sweet cola. Before the first cock crowed, Chibuike would wake the house with his rough, loving voice. "Aklaud manduka ejamaya." A person is known by the work of their hands. Read now, so that when life calls names, you will answer from the front. Obianuju, her hands greased with palm oil from frying akara as done, whispered her own prayers into the smoke. "Children, your dreams are seeds. Plant them well. Let them grow taller than this mango tree. Do not waste what we are suffering to give you." Discipline in their home worked with 2 legs, love and firmness. Uncles corrected, aunties scolded, neighbors reported any stubborn child they saw. Lanterns burnt late as notebooks filled with ink. The children understood that their parents' dreams were not mere wishes, they were commands wrapped in blessing. Kelechi, the first son, was obedient like a well-trained goat, but carried a secret storm. While his parents called him doctor, his heart answered to another name, musician. At night, when the house slept, he would sneak out his small guitar he had bought with saved lot money. His fingers, gentle on the strings, called out songs that no one had taught him. The moon knew his music, the crickets clapped along. Yet, when morning came, he wrapped his dream in silence and returned to his textbooks. To honor his father, he walked the road to medical school. Ifunanya, with her mother's eyes and her father's stubborn chin, loved stories the way dry earth loved rain. She scribbled tales on the backs of old newspapers about girls who climbed ant trees and boys who talked to rivers. But in the mouth of the adults, her name carried another dream, barrister. She swallowed her words and learned the language of laws instead of the language of her own soul. Only Tochukwu walked freely. From childhood, he broke apart radios to see the spirits talking inside them. He turned tins into cars, ropes into pulleys, scrap into tools. When his parents said engineer, it matched the rhythm of his heartbeat, and so his path felt less like a cage and more like a road. My children, listen well. A clay pot can hold water for years, but one small crack ignored will one day betray the thirst of a household. Kelechi wore his white coat at last, the pride of his father shining like sunlight on polished metal. People called him Dr. Kelechi, and elders shook his hand with both of theirs. Yet, at night, when the hospital corridors fell silent, he heard music in every beeping machine, every drip of water, every human sigh. The guitar now lay in a corner of his room, strings gathering dust. Each day, he chose the stethoscope over the strings. A little part of him withered. Ifunanya stood in court, her voice sharp, her mind quick, her suit ironed flat like a new page. She won cases. Clients praised her. But when she went home, the stories crowded her chest like birds trapped in a basket. She would sit by the window, staring into the distance with tears that had no name. Somewhere inside, the storyteller was knocking, but the lawyer kept the door locked. Meanwhile, Tochukwu's small inventions began to spread through the village. A simple machine to help grind cassava faster, a pedal-powered device to help women pump water with less strain. His work did not give him big titles at first, but it made life easier for many. His path was not smooth, but it was his. Compromise had cracked the clay pot for the older two. On the outside, it stood proudly on the shelf. On the inside, the water of joy was slowly leaking away. One Harmattan evening, the wind came with dust and news. Chibuike had fallen sick. At first, it was small, a cough, a tiredness, but soon his strength that had carried so many burdens began to fade. The children returned home, carrying their different versions of success. The house that once rang with loud commands and laughter had grown quiet. One night, as the lantern flickered, Chibuike struggled to speak. His voice came out thin like a thread about to be broken. "Kelechi, play for me," he said. Everyone in the room turned. Play what? The man they knew was a doctor, not a musician. But a mother's eyes see the child inside the adult. Obianuju's gaze met her son's gaze, and in that moment she understood what he had buried all these years. From the bottom of an old box, Kelechi brought out his guitar, now shine with the dust. He cleaned it with the care one gives to an elder. When his fingers touched the strings, something long as sleep woke up. The first note trembled, the second stood up straight. By the third, the room was full of music, of memory, of all the nights that he had chosen silence instead. The melody wrapped around Chibuike's bed like a warm wrapper. The old man's eyes closed, not from pain now, but from peace. A smile touched his lips. So, this is the son I did not allow myself to know. Tears fell from Obianuju's eyes, hot and heavy. She realized that in trying to protect her children from suffering, she had unknowingly asked them to silence parts of their soul. On the day the ancestors called him home, Chibuike asked them all to draw near. His breathing was shallow, but his spirit was still strong. Listen to me, for these are the last words my tongue will carry on this earth. Parents, too, can be wrong. We dream for our children with the eyes of our wounds. We want them to climb where we fell, to eat meat where we tasted only bone. But remember, a dream is like a cloth. If it does not fit the child, it will choke them no matter how fine it is. Ask questions, talk, listen. Only ajoju anali fuzo. The one who asks does not miss the road. A child must ask, is this my path? A parent must ask, is this my child's voice or only my fear speaking? He blessed each one with a weak but steady hand. When he exhaled his last breath, it carried both upon.
The wheel that rose from the compound that day reached the sky, but inside the grief was a hidden seed of change. After the mourning, life began to rearrange itself as it always does, but this time it moved in a new direction. Kelechi returned to the city and made a strange decision. He would still heal people, but not only with tablets and injections. He opened a small clinic where once a week he played music for patients, gentle rhythms to calm their fears, soft songs to ease their pain. People laughed at first, but when they saw anxious hearts resting and sleepless eyes closing in peace, they understood that some sickness lives in the soul, not the skin. Ifunanya, after many long nights of staring at the ceiling, picked up a pen again. At first, she wrote secretly short stories about mothers who sell akara to pay school fees, fathers who hide their pain behind loud voices, children torn between obedience and identity. One day, she sent a story to a publisher. Months later, a letter came. They wanted her book. The day her first collection came out, villagers gathered under the same udara tree where her parents had once courted. She read aloud and elders nodded, seeing their lives honored on the pages. Tochukwu continued building. His machines grew more complex, his ideas bolder. He designed tools to help rural women preserve food longer, devices to help children fetch water with less struggle. He did not just carry his parents' dream, he enlarged it until it could shelter many families. Obianuju, now a widow, would sit under the mango tree at dusk, listening to the echo of all that had happened. When people asked if her children had followed the dreams she and her husband had for them, she would smile, a deep, knowing smile. They followed something better, she would say. They followed the dreams that live inside them. Our own dreams were only the first firewood. Theirs became the flame. And on certain nights, when the moon rose fat and bright, the children of the village would gather around her asking for the story again. She would lift her head, clear her throat and begin. Ifochak pi, wa? There was once a man named Chibuike and a woman named Obianuju who loved their children so much that they almost forgot to love who those children truly were. My children, when you hear this story, carry a chikola note home and break it in your own hands. Respect your parents, yes. Hear their dreams, yes. But also listen for the quiet voice inside you. For a dream forced is a chain, but a dream shared and agreed is a path. And on that path, both parent and child can walk together, hand in hand, until the ancestors call them home.